Just like that. The camera works. Wow. That's crazy. That's super crazy. Yeah. Well, you never know what's going to happen when you log on. And apparently we have cameras today. I don't know. Wow, that's pretty cool. My dog likes it. Uh, what I'd like to do is play a little music and get you guys warmed up and all that. But I don't think our system will do. I don't know. I mean, our system wouldn't have a camera, and now it does. So I don't know. Should I hit the music button and try to play some music or whatever, and we'll just see if it all melds in? It's hard to predict, and that's the beautiful thing about doing what I do now after 25 years is I never know how it's going to work. How do you guys do that? You guys that are out there in the podcast world, how do you plan anything when it only works different every time it only works that way? That's how I'm going to roll with it. What's up? What's up, my friends? Let's play some tic-tac-toe, Jack Blood style. A bunch of things I wanted to talk about because there's just a lot going on, man. And one of the things I like to think I know about is geopolitics. And yeah, especially where it gets into the whole, especially, let me just try to do a whole sentence here. Especially when it comes into the whole wrecking entire countries and their economy and hoping the blowback isn't too bad. Which is something that the Democrats are pretty good at. I mean, let's give them credit. If you look at the Obama years, man, you know, they use economic warfare on a very high level, right? And that's one of the reasons it's super funny if it's hard to remember back all those years ago. But when oil was in the 20s a barrel, and I was, dude, I mean, this doesn't take, to just call you dude, it doesn't take much thinking to go 29 a barrel, buy oil, buy a whole bunch of oil, buy oil futures, man, because 100 is sustainable, and it's crazy, right? And I tried to advise some of my friends on that, and you remember back during the Obama years, but it's economic warfare. And I knew at some point if you bought futures, and this is a very complicated issue, I guess I'll have on someone at some point to, but I think they'll just confuse us. I'll make it really super simple. You can buy futures at 29 and then sell them at 100 at the end of the year. Now, if the end of the year it's still 20 or 30 or whatever, you got to pay dividends. And this is where people get in a lot of trouble with put options and buying futures and that kind of thing. But it was so obvious that there was an economic war and then it was going to go up, and why there was an economic war. And China loved this cheap oil. Russia hated it. Right. You got to remember that Zbigniew Brzezinski was one of Obama's top advisors. He hates Russia. And then that's what they figured out their strategy would be. And then if you remember, I know it's a very long time ago. It's almost years ago. It actually was. That there were coups in various countries and we were attacking, you know, places like Libya and Syria, and there was this war everywhere. I mean, on every freaking front, there was a war, and they were going for gambits on that. This is Project for New American Century, Obama style. And you got to hand it to the Democrats. That's what they do. They're really good at it. It's called neoliberalism. All right, look it up. Jack, there are only neocons, and there's neocons, And most of the liberals now are neocons. Did you see let me digress for a second. Did you see, because I guess Liz Cheney, who's head of the January 6th committee and loved by Democrats everywhere, they want her to be president. That will be the first woman president, a Cheney. How great would that be? Could a Bush be her vice president? Oh, that would just be spectacular. How awesome would that be? She's running for re-election through all of this against the Trumpers, allegedly. And her dad, Darth Vader Cheney, came out and did a campaign ad for her and just slashed and burned Trump and everyone on the liberal media. What is it? I don't know. The media is liberal in general. And not to put down liberals, I'm liberal myself, but not like that. Not that kind of liberal. That's skunk ass poop liberal. I can't, blue check shit lib. I ain't doing that. If you're supporting the Cheneys, I'm out. Not on your team. And they lowered Dick Cheney in on a helicopter and put him in and put the mask on him and PNAC, 9/11, warmongering war criminal Dick Cheney has been rehabilitated by MSNBC and the like. Man, I mean, you think you're going to live to see something like that in your day, and you're probably not. I don't know, man. Like, that's how, I guess anything's possible. Anything is possible then at this point, right? If Liz Cheney could be president, how could she even win that election? I don't understand. It's Wyoming, and as we know, the Cheneys are the governors of Wyoming. My Cheney impersonation. When he's in the bunker, right? He's down in the White House basement. He's in the bunkers. It's 9/11, and these planes have been flying around for freaking hours. And he has, this is according to Norman Mineta, who was the transportation secretary under Bush, and he testified to this, at the 9/11 commission, and anyone that would hear it, but no one heard it. And he had his assistant down there, and they're watching it all, and they tell Cheney, the planes are 30 miles out, and then they give him another report. The planes are 20 miles out, at which point Cheney says, "Stop interrupting me! Fuck off!" And then the planes, sorry, something stuck in my throat, hit the Pentagon. That's what happened. That's what happened. You got to trust them on all that. But the Democrats are right now, and we're seeing this with like her or not, whatever. If you don't like her, that's cool. I don't care. I lived in Phoenix, but Carrie Lake is, running for governor of Arizona, and there's a vote over there, and she seems fairly competent, but I don't know. I'm not going to get involved in politics, but she's not, I guess, winning the election because it's a bipolar state where you can vote. If you're a Democrat, you can go vote for the Republican of your choice, which is weird because normally what we've been seeing all around the country is that the money has been spinning around to put in the craziest Trumper in to run in the general election in November, which is exactly what Heil Hillary Clinton did, and it didn't work out. I just think that's the funniest strategy, but apparently they're so afraid of Carrie Lake in Phoenix Arizona, where I used to live and had a business, that they have the Democrats voting for Republicans, and they're voting against her for the more moderate Republican. I mean, to me, I've listened to Carrie Lake, and to me, she's pretty moderate. She's too moderate for me. I wouldn't expect too much, you know. I could pretty much predict what she'll do. On the other hand, you know, there are some constitutional issues I might be able to count on her for. So I don't know. It's a brave new world. Like, who knows what's going on? But it's funny because in Arizona, they're putting in the moderate, and they're getting rid of her, or hoping to. And I know elections are not fixed. All elections that have ever happened are on the up and up. And one thing you should know is the United States never interferes in any other elections anywhere around the world. That's thank God we believe in democracy, and we would never. Oh, that's right. That's all we ever do. Okay. My bad. But I did correct myself, and hopefully I won't get sued for libel or defamation or anything like that. But I mean, we just don't have a lot of good candidates. But it's really funny. So here's the game, and if you haven't been paying attention, I'm gonna fill you in. I can back this up with data. I'm not gonna do that on this little whatever this is, this podcast. That the Democrats are going hard and paying hard money and buying ads, super ads, right? For the craziest Trumper that you could possibly find anywhere, right? Because they're going to beat them. And they're going to go in the election, and they're going to go, January 6th, he's a Trumper. He likes Trump, and Trump has endorsed him, and I think they're going to get their asses kicked. But it's weird, the dichotomy. It's just weird, the tribalism that in Arizona, man, they're so scared of Carrie Lake that they didn't use that strategy there. I don't know, man. Look it up. It's something when I interviewed Roger Stone that he was really good at, is they would put a bunch of money into the opposition. This is prime opposition research, opposition takeover, and they would go in and they would help support the campaign of the weakest candidate so that they could win. And it's kind of a gambit. I mean, I wouldn't do it, and I think you stink if you did that. So and then Democrats, I want to know where Democrats are. If you're out there listening and you're a Democrat, I just want to know, despite all the bad things I might have you heard me say, which I didn't say about you, is that you're donating money to the Democrat Party, and they're putting it into Trumpers. They're helping Trumpers win primaries to run in the general election. That's where your money's going. I mean, so right now you're okay, cool. We're going to win because we're going to beat anyone named Trump or anyone that Trump's back. But when it all backfires, and that's your money that did that, it's your fault. Ask George Carlin about that. That's why I didn't vote. I don't want to be responsible. That's kind of why I don't vote. I just dropped my friend off last week, and he put his primary ballot in. I kind of wanted to ask him why. Maybe he's watching this right now and stuff. Why are you talking about me, Jack? But what you talking about, Willis? But true, man. I'm like, it's not my fault. Whatever happens, I vote with my money, and there's a lot of ways I vote. I vote with my time. Okay, I vote with my character. I vote with this podcast. Like those are the things I do, right? Drinking tea. It's hard tea. I'll if you guys have any questions, I'll take them. The other thing that's going on that I wanted to talk about is what's going on in China. This is kind of covered, but not really. There's a massive bank run in China. They've lost hundreds of billions of dollars they're having a subprime meltdown over there. I don't know how they're going to deal with it, but it's akin to what happened here in 2007 and 2008, where we just printed a bunch of money, gave it to the banks. They took people's houses that went under. Speaking of Phoenix, that place got hard hit. Florida, there's some other places it just got super hard hit. The bubble just got way too big and no one could really afford it. And then, do you guys know the whole subprime thing? Do I have to explain it to you? I mean, there's movies about it. You can watch it. There's lots of documents. But basically, there's insurance for loaning people money on their houses, and they were shifting around like bad loans and making them look like good loans, and people were buying them and reselling them, and that was part of they call them tools or whatever, on Wall Street. And it all just blew up in one day, and the competition disappeared, and then we whittled down from 8 banks to 5 banks, and the guys that lived, we have to thank the Federal Reserve and Bush, Obama. See, there was no difference there, to bail out people. And ever since, we've been bailing them out forever. It gets down to, I don't know, roughly $60 to $100 billion a month in free loans to the banks, just to make sure we're solvent and we can keep going. But what's going on in China? I mean, they also print money. They have fiat currency in China, the yuan. It is also a fiat currency, which, a lot of Americans get mad about, or bankers and people. Why do they get to do that? Because you're doing it. They have to compete. But it's mayhem. What's happening in China now and what's about to happen is going to make Tiananmen Square look like child's play, right? That doesn't mean that we should be, if you listen to Colonel Doug McGregor, he'll tell you, man, we're not going to win that war. We're not going to have a war and take out China and Russia. That's just not going to happen. So what's going on in the middle of it? It is global economic warfare. And who's the loser in all of that? So China's not going to fail, but it's going to get bloody. Oh, it's real bad. So what they did was, in China, if you guys don't know, I'll explain it to you in 1 minute. They had a massive real estate boom in China, and people were trying to buy into real estate just as much as they could. And they were trying to buy into it so much that they were buying property that didn't exist. You get that? So it doesn't matter what their name is. You guys can look it up, but there's, a couple of companies that were doing the developing, and they're owned by the state of China. They're owned by the China Communist Party. And people were investing in property that was going to be developed into the future. That's how hot the real estate market got in China for a while. And this has been going on for about 10 years. So all of a sudden, it becomes insolvent, and the property you invested in that never got developed, that doesn't exist, all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. You can't afford it. The pyramid scheme has completely collapsed. Completely. Just so fast. It's emerging economy stuff, right? It crashed so fast. Less than a year. And it became evident that all the money that you invested to buy property that didn't exist was never going to come to fruition, and you were never going to get that property. and that money's in the bank, and you can't go get it. They've closed the banks. You can't get it. You can't get at your money. I mean, this is after just massive COVID shutdowns and some crazy. You hear the people screaming in Shanghai when they had all that. Whew, wow. What happened the last few years with Hong Kong and what's going on with Taiwan right now, saber rattling with the world. And on top of it, their banks are all failing. And people want their money, and they need their money to, I don't know, buy food, stuff like that. I mean, it is a bank run and a crash to the highest level, they say. So this is always the question. They say, well, $300 billion just disappeared like that. Where'd it go? You guys tell me. Where'd that money go? I mean, somebody got that money and then it disappeared. That went into somebody's pocket. You're not going to hear that on CNN. That went in somebody's pocket. Somebody's got that money. And now, so China's banks work very similar to the way our banks work here, where you only have to have 10% in reserves and you can loan out. It's called fractional reserve lending. You can lend out up to 10 times. It's usually 100 times as you move the lending cycle down along the path. It could be 100 times. So if you put in $100, it could be lent out to $10,000. So they lent all that money to these state-run corporations who were selling property that didn't exist, that they were going to develop. Now, there are huge ghost towns in China, giant buildings and condos. Some of them they've just wrecked. They've just controlled demolition. No, there's no such thing as controlled demolition, Jack. That doesn't exist. That's a conspiracy theory. Okay, they just blew up these condos because at some point they realized they're never going to be able to finish these condos that people bought and paid for years in advance. I mean, am I making sense? I'm wondering if I am. Maybe I'm not making any sense. All right. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll answer your questions, and then we'll figure out later if we should just delete this whole thing. I don't know. But I think it's worth knowing because I've talked to some people here. What do you call them? Genophobes or whatever. They don't like China. They don't like, but the people I'm referring to are actually kind of very liberal and stuff. And it's a big, giant mess. It's a massive mess. I don't know how you fix it. This is something that could lead, and probably won't, but could lead to civil war in China. I mean, they got some issues, man. They got some major issues. And that's probably why Nancy Pelosi just went over there with, can YouTube censor this? I guess not. I don't know. Maybe. But that was it. It was a double fuck you to China to go over there. They're feeling themselves. And this is what Democrats have done, man. They are, neoliberalism has wrecked the world. It's monopoly gambits on every level. It's risk and monopoly put together with one-dimensional chess. Because this is throwing a bomb in the middle of the world and hoping it works out for you. Like, honestly, if you're asking me, I believe a healthy China would probably be good for us and we could work with them. And some of you will say, well, that's what Trump was kind of doing. And, we want a healthy world. We want a healthy economy that's good and works for everybody. I'd like it to work for people here in the United States. That would be really cool, too. Not so much, as we know. The Biden crew, this was 50-50. I think, did Kamala do the deciding vote. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember, but they just passed all kinds of legislation. It's global warming, it's taxes. They're hiring thousands of new IRS agents to go get your money and your taxes, because that's what we need to do, is fill up potholes with your tax money. And it's just on every level. It's just on every level. I mean, I could fix it. Put me in charge right now, I will fix it. But I'm not. And so I'm a helpless victim like you, and I hate being a victim. I don't want to be one. You understand why people are mad? This is why people are mad. And mad in China, mad in Russia, mad in Ukraine, mad in Europe, mad in South America, mad in Africa, and mad in America. Mad as hell. It's a bomb in the middle of a Kool-Aid factory. It's really bad. It's just really bad. I don't know what to even say about it sometimes. I mean, I do the numbers. I crunch the numbers. I'm good at that. But wow. I mean, holy shit. It could all break apart right now, tomorrow. End of story. So my advice is that you guys take your money and you invest it into the military industrial complex. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, don't do that. That would be unethical, and I don't want you to, even though you'll make money. We had warplanes over my house for 4 days. You can check out some of the video we put up here, just breaking up the sky. Massive warplanes. Yippee! It was pretty fun. Pretty fun unless they're dropping bombs on you and stuff. My dog hated it. My dog absolutely just hates that. She hates the 4th of July. She hates warplanes, that kind of thing. William Cooper, God rest his soul, said that we would eventually be in a civil war. And by we, you mean what? The world? That's what I'm talking about, Mike. The world is in a civil war, which they used to call world wars. I don't think people have the energy in this country to do that, but I don't know. The summer, we're only halfway through summer. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the summer. They've tried it. I'm not too worried about that. Global civil war, I'm absolutely worried about. It could stop everything. I mean, you think the supply chains are bad now? Wait do you see? Wait do you see what could happen? We're on the fringe. Chad, what do you make of the IRS situation, meaning that expansion by a lot? Yep. They're going to start targeting individuals based on their secret files on each of us. I think it could be bad very soon. Well, it can be. See, I'm kind of with Snowden on this. There's just too much to run through. So they can hire 10,000 agents or whatever. Hopefully, Chad, you're not going to be one of those people. And if you are, you're straight. I don't know. I mean, I'm not obviously on YouTube. I'm not going to go too deep into my issues. Or the IRS is great. We love them. All hail. See what I did there? Yeah. If you see a camera watching you and listening to everything you do, whatever, I'm telling you right now, don't smash that camera. See what I did there? I don't know, man. I just don't think they can get all of us, and I've always been a big believer in many hands make light work. So, the more people that rebel, the better off we're going to be. And I happen to think there's a lot of people rebelling right now. So I'm kind of not worried about it, but whatever. If I go to jail, if I go to prison, they pay my rent. They make my food. I'm what's called an old head, so I don't have to join a gang, and they give you TVs and you get commissary, and it's actually not a bad not a bad way to go. I'm not opposed to it. Juxtaposed with paying my bills or die every day. I don't know what will happen to the bat dog, but I think my girl will take care of her. Brand X. Past my bedtime here in the UK, so I have to drop out. Replay tomorrow. Otherwise, question. I'm going to answer this question for you, my man. And when you wake up in the UK tomorrow, you seen 2,000 Mules? Any thoughts? Good to see you live on here. Catch up soon. Oh, it's Joe Skelton. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't impressed. I don't know. I mean, there should be a follow-up to, there should be 2001 Mules. There should be a follow-up to that, because we have major issues in voting. That's what it was all about. It was a Dinesh D'Souza's movie. If you guys don't know, if you haven't seen it, I have seen it. Some of it is quite intriguing, but on the edge of not provable. And some of the people I trust have also said the same thing. It's just kind of like, it's one of those things where the first time you see it and the information they put out, you're like, whoa, they did that shit? And then you think about it, and it's like the second time I see it, it's like, man, can you back that up? Chad, gotta make dinner. All right, you watch. See you later. Bye. Jack William Cooper, God rest his soul. You know, so I was back in the 90s on the radio, and I've spent hours on the phone talking to Bill Cooper. One of the things, yeah, we agreed on a lot of things, man. He was a cool guy, and actually we were negotiating for a long time to have him come on my radio station and do an interview, and then they shot him on his front lawn. I missed that opportunity. A lot of people I talked to back in the day. The U.S. Yeah, no civil war in the U.S. I guess anything's possible. I mean, how do you define civil war? People get into these semantical arguments on podcasts these days. We're in a civil war. So the answer is yes. But it's a dirty war. Right? It's what do they call it? Quiet war. Quiet war, man. It's not a shooting war. And if it is, I guess you're seeing it. 9 Meals Away from Chaos. That's a great name for a band. Truth Hurts. 9 Meals Away from Chaos. I like that. I like the 9. Tesla would like that too. Do you think Biden will run in 2024? That's a tough one. The answer to that question is, who else is going to run? I mean, name them. You guys get in the chat right now and go, do you have a Democrat that you would like that would run? Because I might. But those guys aren't going to win. And they're going to get beat down. So who's the establishment? Who's the establishment? Who's the establishment choice for Democrats? I mean, it has to be Biden. They have to prop him up and drug him up and do whatever. They don't have a chance. Otherwise, Republicans going to win. And right now, Trump just won the straw poll, the CPAC straw poll, 64 some percent. DeSantis, I mean, it's kind of a tough race back and forth, but then even they don't have anyone else. So who's could win? I can't think of, is it Chucky Schumer or Nancy Pelosi? Like, I can't think of who's a superstar. People are saying Michelle Obama. All right. If Michelle Obama runs for president, she's got a pretty good chance. I know. Sorry to ruin your day. I mean, and then maybe she could have a Liz Cheney as her vice president. Ooh, there's your answer. Biden will drop out and not run in 2024, and Liz Cheney will run in his place. I mean, is that where we're at now? Wow. Try to predict. I predicted this back in the 90s. No one predicted it. Do I think Biden will run in 2024? I mean, at this point, I haven't seen any reason why they wouldn't. They just don't have anyone else. Jeff, they can't back up anything. I don't know who they are. So I'm going to have to bail on that question. Agreed. I have more questions than answers after, but it was a start. Maybe you're thinking that I remember the question that you asked earlier, and I don't. Sorry, my bad. You got to re-reference the questions. I agreed. I have more questions than answers after it was a start. Maybe we had a score anyhow. Stable. Okay, I think you're talking about the Dinesh D'Souza, the Mules film. I mean, hey, man, put it out there. Put it out there. They had trackers on the drop boxes. So that is very important. If you want your vote to count, why wouldn't you be for that? You should be for that. So it is a good start. It's not the be-all, end-all. I mean, got a long way to go. Now, I've been covering election fraud, big difference from voter fraud. Some of you blame the voters. I blame the people that run the elections. I've been doing that for 20-some years, and I know where the bodies are buried. Jeff, like Carlin said, there is nothing civil about war. Yeah, amen. Yeah, no, I figured that out, Brand X, 2000 Mules. Any questions you guys have? I'm about ready to go off. My dog is barking at my roommate and stuff, and they don't like that. So I'm like trying to do a podcast, and my dog is just, come here, Widow. Come on. Come here, girl. Come on. I know. Look at this. Look at this face. Come on. Come on. Come on. Look at this face. You have to look at this face. Oh, look at this. This is my best friend right here. I know. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. People are at the house today. It's very exciting. I know. She just loves people. She hates dogs. Hates them. But loves people. I love dogs. And also hate people. I don't know. Not you guys, though. All right. Did I turn it in? Did I just mail it in? Is this not acceptable? You'd rather I don't do this? I mean, I'll keep doing it if you guys want me to. And I'll answer any questions. But I'm doing like a lot of, just know this. What I'm doing is not conspiracy theory stuff. I'm just doing like a lot of diagnostic, and then I'm just matching it with all the things I've learned over the last few decades. So I like to think we do kind of a 360-degree view of everything that you're not getting on other podcasts, but my camera's not very good, and I kind of don't care enough to write a script or whatever. So Tim Pool, go to Tim Pool and find out what's going on in the world. Good luck with that. Now he's not going to ever have me on his show, but that wasn't going to happen anyway. All right, y'all. Bill Hicks joke about elections being one person holding up two puppets. I know. Don't I play that at the open of my show on Thursdays every day? I know. That's how it goes. All right, guys. The world is chaos. Out of chaos, there will be order. All you have to do is just go along with what they tell you. Just do that. You guys know the circle theory? Bam. All right. I'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Jack Blood, your radio gun saying be bold. Mighty forces will come to your aid. And more importantly, Shine bright, you crazy diamonds.